Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome to the Carpe Diem Podcast, where I discuss about Venice AI and learn in public. Today's topic is the tweet storm that Erik Voorhees, founder of Venice AI, posted on X, where he nerded out about the DM valuation in a long and juicy post. So DM's launching today, so let's see what happens. Will a lot of DM be minted? Will the market value DM with reason? Will the reason be reasonable? Will they be too pessimistic about what Venice team can achieve? Will the market get too optimistic? Will the market get so optimistic that we'll call it mania in hindsight? Or will no one even notice our little ecosystem and it'll pass with a whisper? We'll see. Whatever the market thinks, I think AI with maximal privacy is valuable, but I fear it may take some pain before society fully understands it. I have a VVV accumulation strategy to buy $10 per day every day. Today I bought 2.31 Venice tokens for $10 at $4.32 per VVV. I now hodl 12.83 Venice tokens acquired for $50. That's all. I'm going to read out Erik's thread. It's quite long. It's given me much to think about. He had some ways to value DM that I hadn't considered, and some of his price ranges that he reasoned about are much more bullish than I had dared to go. You may prefer to read the post yourself, probably recommend it. Link is in the video description. The rest of this blog are Erik's words. VVV and DM form what I believe is a novel token mechanism, a range-bound asset. DM is minted from and melting back into an underlying non-range-bound token, VVV. VVV's price can go anywhere, but DM's should not. It should exist within a range. Why is that, and what is this range? From a Venice product perspective, VVV will become increasingly central to the app or platform itself, while DM is distilled out to a narrow specific purpose within the platform, specifically AI inference via the API. The impetus to create DM was to make daily API capacity stable per user and enable trading of the raw compute, since many VVV holders aren't also API users. DM achieves both goals. We are not aware, we as in they, as in Erik and Venice, are not aware of any other crypto asset with similar dynamics. Perhaps this perpetual license concept can become a new primitive others can use. What is DM? 1 DM equals $1 per day of Venice API access. Many people wrongly believe this makes it a stablecoin. DM is definitely not a stablecoin, but will have some kind of reasonable range boundedness. So compare to a stablecoin like USDT. USDT is pegged to a specific stock of another asset, namely $1 of USD. DM is pegged to a specific flow of another asset, namely $1 of USD per day. The per day element is, of course, a fundamentally different thing and was the inspiration for the Latin name. The reason DM is not a stable coin is because at minimum, everyone's time preferences are different. What is an asset worth that grants $1 per day of a resource? It's certainly more than $1, but certainly not $100,000 either. Somewhere between these extremes is the proper range of DM. Could it be $20 to $100? Could it be $1,000 to $3,000? Determining this proper range is an interesting market question. DM is properly described as a perpetuity asset and valued as such. Perpetuities exist everywhere in the traditional finance. Any asset that yields a resource over time, a house on which you collect rent from a tenant, is a perpetuity, as is a stock that yields dividends. A diamond mine producing 1 million per month in stones would similarly be. The perpetuity formula is PV equals C divided by R, where PV is the present value, C is a constant cash flow per period, and R is the discount rate, aka interest rate or opportunity cost. Since DM is £1 per day, it also equates to £365 per year. So DM PV equals 365 divided by R, but what should R be? R is the observer's assumed discount rate, which will be different for every person. If you assume a 20% annual discount rate, it means basically you could earn 20% on your capital elsewhere. And the equation would mean that then that's the present value should be 365 divided by 20%, which would value DM at $1,825. With these assumptions, the correct value of DM is, what I said, $1,825, considering that it's an asset producing $1 of a resource per day, AI inference. But all sorts of arguments can be made about that 20% and why it's not the correct number. Examples. Each one full DM doesn't necessarily get used each day. It's only actually producing $1 per day if it's used at its maximum. If you use your DM at 50% capacity, then it only produces £182 of a resource in a given year, not 365. Crypto people may have a higher discount rate given perceived risk and opportunity cost of other assets. Perhaps a PV of 165 divided by 50% is more appropriate. Each valuer needs to think of these variables for themselves. There's no correct value of DM for all parties. And even the same person with the value of will value DM differently next month versus today. If you start needing more Venice API capacity, then your value estimate per DM will rise. Other considerations also affect the proper DM price range. VVV stakers who minted DM can only unlock their VVV by burning the same amount of DM that they created. For whatever reason, a staker needs to unlock VVV, their value on DM rises, regardless of the daily resource value or discount rate. Also consider VVV price dynamics. If VVV price rises, the capital cost to mint new DM also rises, thus fewer DM is minted and higher DM price, and vice versa. Also consider speculative flows. DM can be used to leverage VVV without liquidation risk. You buy VVV, you mint DM, you sell the DM for VVV, and you can repeat that loop. This will tend to raise the VVV price and suppress the DM price, but when the speculative flow reverses, the opposite occurs. Consider the mint rate curve. Venice sets a target DM supply variable, and this heavily influences the DM mint rate, the quantity of VVV required to mint one DM. When VVV increases GPU capacity, for example, it can increase target DM supply, which lowers the mint rate, making VVV more valuable, because fewer are now needed to mint one DM at whatever price. Lastly, consider Venice product quality. When Venice adds a new popular AI model or feature to the API, all DM becomes worth more because $1 per day of the service is now more valuable. DM price rise should encourage VVV price range because then each VVV can mint a more valuable asset than previously. Clearly, the mechanisms surrounding VVV and DM will be interesting to watch. The entire purpose is to improve the ability of AI agents and third-party apps to access private, uncensored inference without friction, specifically the friction at the point of the inference request. None of these dynamics should matter much for the average Venice API user that needs compute. Such user acquires DM at market price and then gets free API access. If price gets too high, they'll do less of it or pay with USD or credit card. If price of DM falls enough, it will encourage more of its use. By holding DM, every Venice API call becomes free to you. What AI use cases will that unlock? how would people have used other forms of information if they had to pay each time a request was made? Consider what happens when with text messages when the marginal cost went to zero. That's the end of the post. Thanks for your post, Erik. That's all. Go seize the day.